We're so excited. Hello, everyone. We're so welcome. We're so happy to see you today. My name is Maureen McKinnon, and I'm the Women in Leadership Vancouver chapter co-chair. I also own my own firm, McKinnon Executive Coaching, and as an executive leadership coach, I support and empower women to advance their careers and reach their goals, which of course is what is the mission of the Women in Leadership Foundation. So to start off, we are going to do a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that Kikite, First Nations in New Westminster, as well as all coastal Salish peoples on whose traditional and unceded territories where we live, learn, play, and work. Welcome again. We're so excited for our Vancouver chapter of Women in Leadership Day, which is what we're celebrating today, is the inaugural, the first annual Women in Leadership Day, which is being celebrated across Canada with all of the various chapters, which I'll get into in a little bit more detail because I have an announcement to read from Maya Kenyon, who is the founder of the Women in Leadership Foundation. For our Vancouver chapter, as part of the theme about how women are going to change the world and make it a better place, we are so excited to have three fabulous speakers who are literally women who are change leaders in the Lower Mainland. Each of them have started their own nonprofit associations, and it will be my pleasure to introduce you to each of them. Just for some, and they will be each sharing their stories about how they got started, what is their mission or purpose, and where they are now. A little bit of the logistics before we get started. Please utilize the question and answer button below. We will be, after the speakers, bringing everyone back, and we will have a question and answer at that point in time. We also wanted to advise you that the presentation will be recorded and uploaded to our WIL YouTube, actually, following this event. And it will also be available through the Women in Leadership newsletter that will be going out later this week, well, tomorrow and or next week. So once again, we're so excited to be here. So I have my announcement from Maya first, the founder. Thank you all for joining us to be a part of the change and to proclaim Women in Leadership Day, May 31st. We are gathering today because we want to share this important message that women can be leaders and that women will change the world. Our foundation is built on the belief that we can all make a positive difference and can make an even bigger impact by working together to get there. Today is for celebrating women's achievements. The world leaders who are launching this initiative, the women leaders who are launching this initiative in 5 provinces across Canada, and for recognizing individuals in our community who are championing change. We extend our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to our chapter leaders who have incredible dedication and commitment to launch our National Women in Leadership Day. Our deepest gratitude to our volunteer chapter communities for your leadership and coordination in the in-person and virtual Canada-wide events. Heather Van Munster and Julie Potter and the Women in Leadership Victoria chapter team, Maureen McKinnon, myself, and Kelly Woda, and the Vancouver chapter team, Heather Thompson, Penny Islar, and Christy Sharon, and the Women in Leadership Alberta chapter team, Carrie Swabias and Lynn Campbell, the Saskatchewan Women in Leadership chapter team, Gravir Baines and Farhana Muhub, the Toronto Women's in Leadership Day Organizing Committee, Susie Ho and the Women in Leadership on Ottawa chapter, Linda Moda and Annalise DeForest, the Women in Leadership Montreal chapter. So all of these women are having events across the country today in all celebrating Women in Leadership Day. Most of them are in person, but we are here virtually. So we're excited to be all part of it. We also want a special thanks. I want a special thanks to Mia Sower from Sweet and Sour Studios for the video completion project, highlighting our amazing volunteer and national team strength, and to Susie Ho for her additional leadership and direction expertise on the video screen creation. You can see that on the website, and you can also see it through the newsletter. Our deepest gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our Women's in Leadership team, Dana Critton, who for the idea concept behind Women in Leadership Day. She's also behind the scenes today, managing our Zoom event here for Vancouver chapter, and the marketing engine behind promoting the Women in Leadership Day. Emily Kirkjian for creating the beautiful DE&I Champion Award recognition video segments to our 17 Bridge to Gender Equity Project Advisory Committee members and Marketing Coordinator, Chief Jian Low, Michelle Neefgren, Annabelle Feeney, and David Mossman for your contributions to the success of the special day, the video interviews, the Bridge to Gender Equality Project, and all the behind the scenes efforts for the big day. Today's Women in Leadership Day launch wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our national and local partners, and we thank you for your continued commitment to women's leadership, empowerment, and advancement. National partners include major funding by the Government of Canada, IG Wealth Management, IBM, CGI, Kyndryl, BC Public Service, Leading Talent, Women in Leadership Career Portal. Our Bridge to Gender Equality Project report findings have highlighted the importance of addressing systemic issues around equity, diversity, racism, and inclusion. Let's reimagine our workplaces. Let's shift our mindsets to empower more women to take their rightful place in leadership and decision-making roles. We can all take small steps each day to celebrate someone's achievements, to be an ally, to mentor, and to expand our community. In the next 3 years, more than 20% of the Canadian workforce is eligible to retire, nearly doubling the amount in the previous 5 years. Attracting, recruiting, and retaining underrepresented groups will become vital to fill the workforce gap. Employees are demanding a more supportive, inclusive workplace. Let's support healthy workplaces to embrace diversity, equality, and inclusion where we can all have the opportunities to thrive. We are celebrating over 22 years at WIL, and we thank you all for your continued support and for being part of our community. Women in Leadership is all about working together to get there. That's from Maya. And so as the Vancouver chapter, we are taking this theme of change leaders to heart. And I am so thrilled to be able to introduce you these 3 speakers that they have fabulous stories, and they're going to share them with us. So our first speaker is Kelsie Priest, and it's my pleasure to introduce Kelsie. Kelsie is a project engineer with her professional engineer designation. Oh, wait a minute, I've got to hide for Kelsie. Kelsie is a professional engineer designation, or she has her designation, and she works with Glotman Simpson Consulting Engineers and has over 10 years of progressive experience in structural design. She specializes in structural design of concrete high-rises and wood frame projects, and has contributed to many iconic projects shaping the skylines of Vancouver, Seattle, and Los Angeles. Kelsie is dedicated to creating an environment where women can flourish in their engineering careers. In 2018, she co-founded Women in Consulting Engineering Vancouver, an organization that supports and empowers women in engineering with a goal of increasing gender, diversity, and inclusion in the industry. She is currently the co-chair of this vibrant community with over 500 members. Kelsie is also a director for the Canadian Centre for Women in Science, Engineering, Technology, and Trades, known as STEM, and through the WINSET Centre. Kelsie, we're excited to hear your story.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Maureen. I'm just going to share my screen where I've prepared a few slides.
Please.
Oh, we're not at the start. Here we go. Great. Well, I'm really happy to be here on the very first Women in Leadership Day. I'm here to share my experience launching a nonprofit called Women in Consulting Engineering. As Maureen mentioned, I have my professional engineering designation and I work at Glotman Simpson Consulting Engineers. I'm also a board director for the WINSET Center. So a little bit of background about me. I started working in the engineering profession in 2011 when I was a co-op student through UBC. So what this meant was I prolonged my degree by adding in work terms. So I started in 2011 and I started at my current company in 2012 as a student. I graduated from UBC with a civil engineering degree, specializing in structural engineering in 2014. I worked as an engineer in training, so that's your position before you become a professional engineer. And then in 2018, I co-founded Women in Consulting Engineering with several women engineers at Glotman Simpson at the time. And then in 2020, I received my PEng, and in 2021, I joined the WINSET Board of Directors. One of the reasons why I felt compelled to get involved in founding Women in Consulting Engineering and having a place in the equity, diversity, and inclusion space within engineering was because from 2012 at Glotman Simpson to 2014, I was the only female engineer. And we've since added more female engineers to our staff, but I've always been the most senior female engineer, despite being very junior at the time. So I've never had any senior women engineers at the company that I work for to look up to. I've been really fortunate to work on some outstanding projects. As Maureen mentioned, I've been working along the west coast of North America, and I've just showcased two of my favorite here, but I've had my hands on a lot of different projects in the Lower Mainland and in the States. So the one on the left is 1200 Stewart Street, which is in Seattle. It's two 48-story towers. It's with the developer Westbank, and it's made news lately because the developer decided to add the shell of a 747 plane into the atrium. So that's not built yet. The towers are currently built and they're working on architectural finishes. It's been really cool to see that. I was recently in Seattle, and when you drive into the city, you can definitely see these buildings from the interstate. The one on the right is Olympic and Hill in Los Angeles. This is a 60-story concrete building that I've been working on for many years. It's now in construction. They're up to level 3. Buildings in Los Angeles have fantastic amenities. There's like a swimming pool on level 6, dog walks, movie theaters. It's going to be a really great building once it's done. So I know not everyone here works in the engineering profession, so I wanted to give you a bit of background about what it's like being a woman engineer in the consulting industry. So currently in Canada, only 14% of registered professional engineers are women. Engineers Canada has a goal to achieve 30% of newly licensed engineers within a given year being women. And currently, we're between 15 and 20% of newly licensed engineers are women. And what this means is that being a minority in engineering, we're lacking access to role models, we're lacking access to mentors who understand the unique challenges that we face, and twice as many women are leaving the profession as men. So we have a big problem getting women into engineering, and we have a big problem retaining women in engineering. So there's been an analogy made that we're a leaky pipeline. We're losing girls in elementary school, in high school. Women are leaving the profession. It's quite a challenge. And unfortunately, it doesn't sound like we're going to achieve 30% of newly licensed engineer being women by 2030, but we're still trying. For me, I didn't really perceive being a woman in engineering as being more difficult until I matured and looked back at kind of how this shaped my profession. When I started as an engineer, I tried to fit in with the guys. I dressed a little bit more androgynous, wearing just like slacks and button-up shirts, which wasn't really who I am. I also felt imposter syndrome. So feeling like I'm not good enough, or, I'm not smart enough to be here, despite the fact that I graduated top of my class in engineering. So all of this drove me to co-found Women in Consulting Engineering. And I really want to emphasize that this was a team effort. It started out as an initiative at Glotman Simpson, but we brought on other board directors from other companies. And it really was an effort from all 8 of these women to found the organization. So in 2018, before we launched, we hosted a strategy session at our office where we brought in women from other companies. We just asked them what they thought of the idea of this organization, would they like to participate? And we had a really, really good response from all of them. So in 2018, we had our very first launch event. We didn't have any like website or social media. We just spread the event just through emailing our friends in industry. And this event sold out within 2 weeks. So it was really successful and it was really fun. At this event, we polled our attendees to see what would they like out of the organization. They voted on our logo, and we asked for people to apply to be on the board of directors. So in January of 2019, we formed our inaugural board. In 2019, we also became a registered nonprofit. And then together we weathered the pandemics. We really adapted. We had a lot of virtual events. And then in January of 2021, we had our first board turnover. So together with the first board of directors, we came up with a mission statement to help drive our organization. So this is it here. WC is a community devoted to supporting and empowering women in engineering and increasing gender diversity and inclusion in our industry. We also determined our core values. So these are the things that really drive all of our events. Number one, we want it to be fun. We want to be an organization that brings people back. We want people to form really great connections, but in a really organic way. So we try and plan fun events. We also try to be frequent. We have events every single month so that you can meet someone in January and then see them again in February. We're inclusive. We really try to welcome men and encourage men to show up to our events. We have a few show up to every event, so we're getting there. We also try and be accessible. So we keep the cost of our events very low. Our sponsors cover 2/3 of all of our event costs. So most of our events cost between $5 and $20. We connect with like-minded communities, and we're really here to serve industry professionals because that's one part of the leaky pipeline that we've identified. We're also adaptable. We were really adaptable in the pandemic, but we're always polling our members to see what they need to make sure that we're serving them. So just some of our monthly events, they've been really awesome. For example, we had one called The Dirt on Fieldwork, where we discussed challenges that women face on site, as well as how do we overcome them. And we encouraged men to be part of the panel and to show up for the panel. So that was really good. We've also had wine tasting with an engineer who was passionate about wine, and she led a wine tasting for us. It was really fun. Most recently, we had Fork in the Road. So this was for mid-level career women facing career decisions. A big component of our organization is mentorship. So we have a twice annual formal mentorship event, as well as fireside chats that happen every quarter. And we really encourage informal mentorship connections. So I've just got a few photos from some of our past events. We also are doing a lot of outreach specifically to young girls, but also to women who are looking to pursue engineering. We've been involved with Girl Guides and helping girls achieve their engineering badge. We've worked with Science World at their annual Girls in STEAM event. We've toured projects with women from universities, and we've spoken to immigrant women with Impact North Shore. So look at WC today, just a reminder, we started in 2018. We're now almost 600 members. We have 1,500 LinkedIn followers and 19 industry sponsors. So these sponsors have really enabled us to become who we are today. Twice now since we started, we've done a member survey. It's an online survey and we incentivize with prizes, but we want to get a poll of who our members are, what are the things that matter to them, and what we can do better. And I wanted to share a bit of our results because I think it's very compelling on why an organization like WC needs to exist. So most of our members have considered leaving the industry. One of the main reasons is industry culture, but also work-life balance is a struggle. Some additional reasons: the lack of role models, lack of guidance and support, stuck in a stagnant role, general exhaustion, feeling like you don't fit in. So these are like very common themes. There's some that I relate to, and it comes up a lot, like no matter who you're talking to at our events. And we're really trying to address a lot of these issues. So by coming to our events, you're seeing women speakers. Those are great role models. Our mentorship events give you guidance and support. A lot of women have actually found new jobs by coming to our events and making connections, which is really exciting. And when you feel like you don't fit in because you're always the only woman in a room, and you come to an event with 100 women in engineering, it kind of shatters that perception that you don't fit in, that you don't belong. We asked them how they felt about community, if it was important in their workplace, and overwhelmingly, they said community is very important. Despite that, only 30% reported that they're finding community at their workplace. So this is a really big problem, and that's what we're here trying to address. So the number one thing that we're trying to do is build community. Having a community gives you a sense of belonging. It gives you people to turn to when you need support, and you're able to build lasting friendships. So if you'd like to learn more about WC, I invite you to connect with us. We have a website, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you visit our website, this is our Vancouver chapter, but we also just launched WC Calgary, which is really exciting. So they've started having monthly events too, and they're pretty new. They only launched this year. I also mentioned I'm a director for Winset Center. So I felt like through WC, I'm helping to build community, and I'm addressing only one of the problems that's leading to the lack of retention of women in engineering. And it's a very complex problem, and we need a lot of solutions to address this problem. And I thought that another one would be changing the workplace culture. So what Winset Center does is they provide education for career women, but also for managers of women in set professions. And I think that that's really the key to helping to retain more women, is by changing the culture. So Winset has workplace initiatives, and we've also partnered with other organizations. We just completed a 30-month project with Women and Gender Equality Canada, and this was really about changing workplace culture. So if you'd like to learn more about us, visit our website. We have 16 different skill builders that we offer. There's 2 coming up in the next 2 weeks. We offer skill builders on allyship, communication styles, navigating workplace politics, and microaggressions. And that's it for me. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, just pop them in the chat.
Kelsie, that was fabulous. Really, 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 really fabulous. That was such great, succinct information about what you've been doing, what your mission is, how you're achieving it, how you're continuing to grow. That's absolutely wonderful. We're so thrilled to be able to share your story and get it out there more, so that more women will learn about your organization. So thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Our pleasure. We are going to have our next speaker, and it's my pleasure to introduce Winnie Sue. And she is going to share her slides. So if we can make the technical part of that work while I'm reading her bio, that would be great. And I have here, oh, never mind. So Winnie came to Canada 30 years ago as a financially struggling young woman from China. She worked several low-paying jobs to sustain herself. Eventually, she started her own accounting business. That was 20 years ago. Today, she has a team of 15 professionals serving over 200 small businesses in the greater Vancouver and Fraser Valley of BC. Winnie never stops learning. Wanting to achieve more, she studied for an MBA with the Jack Welch Management Institute, very famous, in the United States, by taking online classes during the pandemic. Using the 18-month fast track route, she graduated with all honors in all 12 of her courses at the end of 2021. Also, while winning the Distinguished Scholar Award from the Jack Welch Management Institute at the age of 59. all while working full-time to manage her business. And if that wasn't enough, in the fall of 2021, with 3 fellow co-founders, she started her dream impact project by founding Vision to Reality Foundation, V2RF, 100% online free business community to help newcomers with their entrepreneurial journey. Today, the V2RF community online has over 300 members on its platform who have and are willing to share, learn, and grow with the local business owners and professionals. These have and will include people from different races, colors, genders, and cultural backgrounds who came to North America and dreamed of building a better life for themselves and their families. Winnie believes that Vision to Reality Foundation is a rare, truly multicultural, inclusive online community that welcomes anyone with a dream and the ambition to turn their visions into reality. Today, Winnie and her professional advisors in the Next Gen Accounting Inc., her company, make Vision to Reality Foundation the company's social impact project. So all the staff at Next Gen Accounting and their business clients can contribute knowledge and money and offer support and mentorship to anyone who has an entrepreneurial mindset. It's my pleasure to introduce Winnie to tell us about her story about setting up her nonprofit. Winnie.
Thank you, Maureen, and thank you, Women in Leadership Foundation and Maya and the leadership team to give us this chance to share our dreams. I believe each of us all have a dream, no matter in the professional world, working for a corporation or starting your self-employed or starting your own company or leading a company. And I believe each of us deserve that kind of opportunities. So this is what Canada given to me. That's also one of the main reasons why I like to use this foundation as a vehicle to give back to this community, actually make many of my dream come true and many of my clients' dream come true. My friend's dream come true. So basically the story is starting from me. And when I was taking the MBA course in 2021, and there's a special course called a New Venture and Entrepreneurship. Many of you, if you are taking the business course, you know there's a section for that. So when I was taking that course, the course final assignment is writing a complete business plan with 38 pages for a business venture. Basically, I'm just thinking, if I'm already devoting this 15, 20 hours per week study this course, why don't I just starting to write the real business plan for the dream I have already for several years to creating this foundation. That's where the skeleton of this business idea started. I had no names, don't know what called for this foundation, but just have an idea. And that's how the business plan came about. Once I finished that course, and luckily in the summer 2021, one of my friends was asking me, said, oh, my daughter is taking in business school in SFU, BD business school, and she's looking for a volunteer position in the summer. Do you have any positions for her? I said, that's great, come in to help me to do research for this foundation. So the young lady, Winnie, came in as the first volunteer, and she brought a couple of her friends also in BD business school to be our first few volunteers. There's also a couple of students from UBC and from other colleges around Lower Mainland, and they help us did hundreds of hours of research of what kind of organization we wanted to have. So this basically how we start, and then we vote for the name with a Gem board, and that's how we came out with this name for Vision to Reality. We incorporated in I believe in August. Yeah, so this some of our KPIs. So we incorporated in the fall 2021, and actual business started more in 2022. So after this year was a little bit, as of today, we actually reached 400 members on our online community. So the program we offer is for these 4 pillars here. You guys can all engage with monthly events online for workshop and storytelling. So workshop is more inviting the people with a business background, business professionals to share their knowledge, how to start a business, how I get a loan, how I get a funding, where I should register my business license or GST number, import, export license. So those more technical type of workshops. And then in storytelling, we invite the business owners who share their story to basically say how I start my business, what the challenge I ran into, what is the daily life, how I balance my life work, balance in my families or business life. So those ones is really practical for people to relate with different industry, different kind of business. So it's quite fun, more like just a fireside chat. And then we have another one, it's called a tri-mentorship program. We normally have 1 mentor with 2 mentees. They're in a few weeks program and they connecting to each other. But our community is the glue to connect everybody together in this organization. So in last 4 months, mainly we did the outreach to our ecosystem. So this is so far the people wanted to be our partners. We already done some workshops and a program with these organizations as support, as our speakers, or we do workshops for them too. So basically that's how we starting to expanding our ecosystem. So eventually, WIL, if I can see, is going to be the hub in the middle and connecting our members with different kind of free services offered by other organizations as well. And we do joint programs to helping them. So main goal is to helping the newcomers who are skilled workers, or they wanted to start their self-employed business or starting a company in Canada. But the newcomers is not only immigrate. Many newcomers move to BC. By statistic, there's 100,000 people every year move to BC. Many of them from other provinces, from US, from UK, from Australia, and also many immigrate. And also in our BC, the statistics said 98% the business actually belongs to small, medium-sized business. They're not all huge public companies. So these small, medium-sized business, they're actually is the workforce, the economic driven for our local community. So that's why we wanted to focus on this particular areas, not only supporting the immigrant move here or refugees move here, but it's supporting anybody with entrepreneur mind. They wanted to start something, on their own. So let me just quickly show you guys what's inside our community. So you can see this is actually when people coming into our online community look like. It's a private community. You have to click on our website, join community, answer a few questions, more like sending an application. But if you know somebody here, they can send you a private link to invite you in, just your name and your email. You can come in our community. So in our community, we have members, and this is called a Visionary Spotlight. So we feature different members with their story, their favorite quote, their favorite movie, and music, and what they believe. As you guys can see, it's a totally diversified because we have members from basically every single continent. So this session, I personally really love because I get to know our members, know what they really love. Normally we ask them a question, said, what is your ask for our community? And then what is your give to this community? And we also have startup BC 101. We have a leadership in practice. We have a weekly dose of inspiration. It's a summary for what's happening in our organization. And we also have Stay Curious for people to do something fun. They show you hikings and photos and travels, of meals, food. And the story of ours is one of the section I personally really dear to my heart, because in here, the people from all over the world, they share their cultures, their festivals, their stories, and people from Ethiopia, people from Argentina, people from Brazil, people from India, from Vietnam, from Singapore, and that they are sharing their backgrounds, their family histories, and their festivals, and so you can see the people really sharing their cultures freely. During the research period, we done the market research. We just couldn't find any online business community like this. As many people stay with the people with the same ethnic group or people speaking the same language. In here, we welcome everybody. So people also feel safe to come in, to be respected, to be understand. I personally truly believe when we starting to understand, to be curious of other cultures, and we're more open-hearted to accept who they are, not to judge them. And then we help each other to build a better future. So this is more like inside our community. We also have these event sessions. So we show all the future events coming in. We have a book club. We have called V12 Connectors. Here is all our volunteers actually in here. And we have different posts only for volunteers. So we're also creating training sessions only for our volunteers, personal and professional development, for time management, to personal finance, to how to use Google Calendars, to how you managing your life work balance. There's so many areas because we have tons of local business professionals join our community. They can share their knowledge and give back to the community. So this is if any of you interested in to help and also in this ecosystem to give back, I just highly encourage all of you join our community. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and all our program right now offering, everything is free. We're getting our partners to support, to sponsor, and also we're getting some grants from like a Van City, and of course we also do fundraisings to get the money. We're so new, so right now we don't have any government support, but I truly believe in this ecosystem. We'll have more people supporting it and giving us the fundings and also the expertise to support this organization. So thank you guys very much. And that's what I would like to say. Now I'm going to put my personal invite link in the chat box. So anybody wanted to join without going through the application process, you can use my personal link to join our organization. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Winnie, for sharing that exciting story. You've done a lot. You've accomplished a lot in such a short period of time. Being the accountant and the MBA that you are, I'm not surprised.
Thank you.
And it was really exciting to learn about your organization. And I know that you really believe in being the center of curating business knowledge for newcomers to help them with their entrepreneurial dream, because there really are so many organizations and so many institutions, educational institutions, who offer business courses and entrepreneur training, but a newcomer would not know how to access all of the resources that are available. And so that's part of what your mission is to once again create all of that, curate it, so that you are the one place for people to find out about everything. And these other organizations, I'm sure, are thrilled to partner with you and have you increase the awareness of their organizations and what they offer also. So it's been our pleasure to showcase you here as one of the change leaders, women change leaders here in the Lower Mainland. So
Thank you.
It's our pleasure, our pleasure. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our final fabulous woman change leader, Lisa Kearney. And I am going to be introducing her because her bio is unbelievable. It's fabulous. So Lisa is a highly accomplished cybersecurity professional. That makes us all happy that there's very professional women in the industry. and she's a nonprofit CEO based in Vancouver. With a passion for promoting diversity and inclusion in cybersecurity, Lisa founded the Women's Cybersecurity Society, the WCS2, an organization dedicated to advocating, empowering, and support career opportunities and online cyber safety for women in this rapidly evolving industry. Recognizing the need to celebrate women's cybersecurity achievements, in the fall of 2018, Lisa initiated the International Women in Cyber Day, IWCD, an annual celebration held on September 1st. This initiative serves to honor and highlight the contributions of women throughout the life cycle of their cybersecurity careers. In 2022, 9 out of the 10 provinces of Canada proclaimed September 1st as International Women in Cyber Day, and countless individuals, government entities, and groups celebrated globally across social media and with in-person events. Lisa, with an impressive career spanning over 20 years, has amassed extensive expertise across major industries, including maritime, cybersecurity, and critical infrastructure. Protecting sensitive information and systems within the IT/OT environments remains her focus. Her deep understanding of compliance and regulations in North America has made her a sought-after advisor in navigating the complex cybersecurity landscape. Lisa's knowledge and insights have earned her recognition as a thought leader in the field. She has also authored numerous articles and has been a featured expert in interviews with prominent media outlets such as CBC National News, Global TV, Globe and Mail, The Hill Times, IT World Canada, ServiceNow, and others. Her ability to articulate complex cybersecurity concepts in a relatable manner has made her a trusted voice in raising awareness about cyber threats and promoting best practices. Through her leadership and advocacy, Lisa Kearney continues to contribute significantly to the cybersecurity community, empowering women and driving positive change within the industry. Her dedication to creating a more inclusive and secure digital world inspires and aspires cybersecurity professionals worldwide. We are thrilled to have Lisa here today and talk to us about her organization, the Women's Cybersecurity Society. Lisa, over to you. Lisa, you're on mute.
Thank you, Maureen, for such a warm introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, afternoon, and evening. And thank you for joining me today. It is an absolute pleasure to have this honor to speak about a topic that is close to my heart, women in leadership. Special thanks to Women in Leadership Foundation for the invitation to speak on this important inaugural National Day of Women in Leadership in Canada. Having founded a nonprofit organization, I deeply comprehend the significance of both processing and embodying female leadership, recognizing the profound influence women can exert for the betterment of society and communities worldwide. Today, I want to celebrate the accomplishments of women who have shattered glass ceilings, inspired those who aspire to leadership roles, and discuss the importance of diverse and inclusive leadership in our society. You may be wondering, how do you break the glass ceiling or these barriers to become a female leader and role model? Well, for that, I will share with you 3 stories. I'll start by telling you about my learning journey and how I got to be where I am today in a position of leadership in the cybersecurity and nonprofit community. You'll hear about my successes as well as my failures, which are important life lessons that should be viewed in a positive light. After all, it is said, we learn the most from our failures, and my most favorite quote of all time and memorable is, "It is not who we are in the times of success that define us, but who we are in the times of challenge that really define us." 27 years ago, I was working 3 part-time jobs and uncertain about my future. One evening while working as a janitor at a school board office, I received a compliment I didn't expect, and it really changed the course of my life. A director was working late and noticed how clean the facilities were since I started working there. That was a keen observation on his part, but it made him realize I paid attention to detail, I took pride in my work, and that it was important for me to do a good job. So he told me about a new training opportunity involving technology, which was going to be in high demand as the internet was just taking off back then. So I saw this as an opportunity, but I was also intimidated by the technical requirements. Not only that, enrolling in a new course meant that I would have to leave my family community where I had support and move over 200 miles away. At that time, I had a small child, I was newly married, and here I was, really moving forward to a new community, and I wasn't sure how I was going to support my family, how my decision was going to impact, the support from my husband, how he was going to feel about it, where I was going to find funding, to take the course, how I was going to care for my child, and so on and so forth. However, it was my decision to make. And not only that, I had to find time to, really commit to a full-time course of study and training. But, I had to go over this opportunity and see it as really a means to have a meaningful career in the future and really have a future for myself and for my child, especially for my daughter. That was really important. The training took over a year to complete. I had to make many sacrifices, but they were well worth it. I made mistakes, but I persevered despite the challenges and setbacks. Considering I'm giving this talk, you already know my decision to move forward with my career. However, this story is important to tell because being a woman leader is about saying yes to yourself, even when you have doubts, jumping at opportunities when they're brought before you. Even when risk is involved, it was a significant risk for me and my family. And, I was scared about the incomes. I wasn't sure, was I going to be successful in the training program? Was my marriage going to stay together? Was I going to receive support? Was I up to actually comprehending what was before me and managing that? But I went with my gut, I believed in myself, and I persevered. Even if no one else does, it's really important that women, when hearing this talk, really consider if you believe in yourself, others will believe in you as well. So that's what being a woman leader means, making tough decisions and sticking to them, even when things get hard. Being determined and never giving up, doing the right thing despite what others may tell you. Secondly, allow me to tell you the story of a remarkable woman, of Sylvia Gelman. She is a 101-year-old resident of Ottawa and one of Canada's pioneering female figures in cybersecurity. Between 1941 and 1945, she served at the Examination Unit, a top secret code-breaking bureau of the federal government. For nearly 7 decades, Sylvia and her colleagues maintained strict silence regarding wartime activities. Only recently did the Canadian government lift the veil of secrecy, granting them the freedom to openly discuss their experiences. Her narrative is extraordinary, making her an inspiring role model for countless young women aspiring to lead within the cybersecurity community. Hence, we bestowed upon Ms. Gilman the inaugural International Women in Cyber Day Founders Award during last year's IWCD symposium. Feel free to explore her personal journey on our Women's Cybersecurity Society blog. Today, it remains crucial to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions and accomplishments of women in positions of leadership, much like we're doing here today. By doing so, we foster greater representation, retention, and influence of women within the realm of decision-making. The third story I want to tell you is a modern journey of a young woman I've been mentoring since 2018. To maintain confidentiality, let's refer to her as Kathy. More than 5 years ago, Kathy held a non-technical position at a small company here in Vancouver. Her employer expected her to oversee security and compliance for an organization just out of the blue. Kathy felt terrified, she told me, and lost, unsure of her next steps. But coincidentally, that same year, I started the nonprofit foundation, the Women's Cybersecurity Society, and our mission was to support young women like Kathy seeking to enter or advance in their cybersecurity career. I took her under my wing, provided guidance, resources, training, and encouragement, which was exactly what she needed. This intervention transformed her life and career trajectory. Today, I'm happy to report presently, Kathy has achieved numerous promotions. She's fearlessly plunged into aspirations, determined to succeed, and has gotten salary raises, increases, and also achieved a highly recognized cybersecurity industry certification, Security Plus, and continues with her career plan and accomplishing her career goals in the future. However, it's important to note, without this invaluable support of female leaders and a mentor, her career could have taken a very different path. That is why the presence and influence of women leaders and role models play a crucial role in furthering our cause. The World Economic Forum Global Gender Gap Report 2022 shows that gender parity may not be achieved for a further 132 years. The report goes to say, as crises are compounding, women's workforce outcomes are suffering, and the risk of global gender parity backsliding further intensifies. And while it comes to achieving workplace equity, the Global Gender Gap Report shows it will take another 151 years to achieve economic parity. Unfortunately, men still hold a clear advantage in being promoted to leadership roles. On a positive note, female leaders and founders are starting their own businesses at a faster rate than men. So kudos to that, women are moving forward and moving around any blockages that may be there to succeed as women leaders. Throughout history, women have faced numerous obstacles and societal barriers that have limited their access to leadership positions. However, we have come a long way and the landscape is changing. Today, we see incredible women leading governments, businesses, and organizations and nonprofit communities, much like us on this call today, breaking through the stereotypes and challenging the status quo. Why is it important to have women leaders? Well, for me, being in a male-dominated industry, much like other women who are female leaders, it was really important to me to have role models or people that I could look up to, aspire to be. And seeing other women like me gave me the confidence to believe in myself and say, if they can do it, I can do it. Now, this was more so with starting a nonprofit because most of my career in cybersecurity had no role models and no support, but I managed to get through because I did believe in myself and I went with my gut. But today that's changed, especially since our nonprofit really started the conversation and foundation about the barriers and the importance of inclusion and diversity within the industry. So why is it important to be a women leader? Well, first and foremost, diversity in leadership brings a wealth of different perspectives and experiences to the table. Research has shown profits increase, innovation increases, and so does problem solving. This is especially important in the cybersecurity industry. When we have diverse voices making decisions, we get a more comprehensive understanding of the challenges we face and find more innovative solutions. By incorporating women's insights and ideas into the decision-making process, we tap into a wellspring of untapped potential that can drive progress and positive change forward. Moreover, women in leadership serve as role models and mentors for the next generation, much like I am doing for Kathy today, like I did with other young girls. And when we look at women in positions of power and influence, These young women will realize that they too can aspire into these roles. Representation matters. And when we create a culture that fosters diversity and empowers young women to dream big and pursue their ambitions fearlessly, we can change the world. However, we must acknowledge that the road to gender parity is not without obstacles. The persistent gender biases, stereotypes, and discrimination that women face can make the climb to leadership positions steeper. Just prior to the pandemic, I attended a cybersecurity conference for directors in New York, and I was the only woman in the room. Truly, it was like a 100-to-1 ratio. It is essential that we actively challenge and dismantle these barriers, both individually and collectively. We must create environments that are equitable, inclusive, and supportive, where women have equal opportunities to grow, learn, and lead. To achieve this, organizations and institutions must prioritize gender diversity and inclusion in their policies and in their practices. This means establishing equal pay, implementing family-friendly policies, flexible work schedules, and creating mentorship and sponsorship programs that empower women to rise through the ranks. According to Stats Canada, women make 83% on the dollar. That's here in Canada compared to their male counterparts in the same role, even though it is illegal to pay women less than a man. Equality or equity requires fostering a culture of inclusion that celebrates diversity and rewards merit respective of gender. Furthermore, women themselves must believe in their abilities, as I echoed earlier, and embrace their unique strengths. We must be confident in our skills, know your worth. It is a societal issue that men also can be powerful advocates and allies in breaking down these barriers and promoting a culture of equity. And we must work with them to provide this opportunity to collaborate. By actively challenging biases and engaging and empowering and amplifying women's voices like we're doing here and championing inclusivity, we can create a more balanced and just society. In conclusion, women in leadership is not just a matter of parity. It is about harnessing the power of diverse perspectives, achieving better outcomes, and building a better future. By supporting women in their leadership journeys, like we are on this national inaugural Women in Leadership Day, we will achieve better outcomes and build a better, brighter future. By supporting women in their leadership journeys, we're not only benefiting individual women, but our organizations, our communities, and society as a whole. Let us stand together not only on this National Women in Leadership Day, but throughout the year, united in a commitment to gender equality. Let us work towards a future where women are equally represented at every level of leadership. Together, we can create a world, Together, we can create a world not only, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Together, we can create a world where every woman has the opportunity to thrive, lead, and make a lasting impact. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lisa. That embodies what the message that we're trying to deliver here on the first Women in Leadership Foundation Day. It supports so many of the things that Women at Leadership we talk about, and the events that we try to, that we put on to build community. And in fact, our Bridge to Gender Equality project, the Transforming the Workplace report, as I mentioned earlier, is now available via our website. And what we probably haven't shared enough is that in addition to the report, there will soon be a release for a guidebook and a video series to engage employers, community members, and stakeholders to transform workplaces, shift mindsets, and empower women to deliver tools to help the employers and organizations have a more inclusive environment going forward. Let's have better workplaces for everyone. So I am absolutely thrilled that we've been able to showcase such 3 fabulous women here in the Lower Mainland doing wonderful things. And I realize that we're running a little bit long, so I just want to thank each and every one of you for so much for your presentation, and most certainly for what you do in our community, that we are all here to help support you. And we are pleased to be able to raise the awareness about your organizations moving forward. This event, which has been recorded, will be going forward in our YouTube channel at Women in Leadership, so that we will once again be able to showcase it to a larger community. And as the Women in Leadership Vancouver co-chair, I want to thank you once again, Winnie, Kelsie, and Lisa, for joining us and sharing your stories. And as part of my WIL chapter, I want to plug the next couple of events coming up. So, on June 13th, we have the Inspiring Indigenous Women Leaders, which is a virtual event put on by the Saskatchewan chapter. You can register through our website. On September 19th, we have the next cohort for the Leadership Development Program, if you're interested in that 3-month program on how to develop your leadership. And that's also available through our website. October 18th is our annual Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Leadership Forum, which is also going to be a virtual event. And also starting in September, we'll be looking to accept applications for our mentees and our mentors for the 2024 mentorship program. And all of those events will be coming out on our newsletter, which comes out on Thursday afternoons. And you can also find it at our website, which is womeninleadership.ca. So I am here to thank you so much to everyone once again. And we will be seeing you all, I'm sure, because you're doing such fabulous things in more places. Thank you, ladies. And thank you, everyone, for attending. And that's a wrap for Women in Leadership Day from the Vancouver chapter. Thanks so much, everyone.